Subscribe,
merch.
subscribe.
Buy our shirts.
Yeah.
I'm open.
Oh,
I'm
boom.
I'm
open.
open.
I'm open. Welcome to the I'm Open podcast with Ryan, Sam, Joe, and Zoom user Kyle.
Zoom user.
Whoa, whoa.
No Andrew today because he still has his job he hates and they want him to work overtime. But that's no matter. We took last week off due to laziness, but we're back, and we have a lot of tiering changes to make because some crazy shit happened the past 2 weeks. Got anything for the fans before we start?
We're all thinking of Andrew in these dark times, so hit that subscribe button, go to our merch store, get a hat, support us so we can get him to, I don't know. I mean, he's still gonna, nothing you do is gonna really change anything. He's still gonna have the job, but it'll make him feel better. So
Yeah.
You could do that. All right.
Nobody else?
Right.
All right,
That
let's
was
do it.
exactly what I was going to say, word for word.
Yeah.
Damn. It's great.
Well, I was just
Great
reading
minds.
off the script that we wrote because we come prepared to these pods.
Great minds
I
read
watched
alike.
every single game. I'm prepared.
Me too.
I watched. I listened to the highlights to games while driving home from work today. So I
Counts.
heard some names come up, and I was like, okay, that sounds like that player made some good plays this week, but I did not see said plays.
Sam, is there any way we could do like a split screen of the tier on one window and the schedule on the other? Just because we have last week's games and this week's games to go to.
Yes,
Just so we can
sir.
like quickly go through.
Give me 1 second.
Hell yeah. This is why, and shout out for the fans, to see the inside look of how we do this because we're definitely not editing this out. Like, Sam's our tech guy. Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
That was beautiful.
Wow. Sam, what's on
Ridiculous.
your daily mix one?
Let's see. It's rap music for some reason.
Nice.
I don't really know the last time I listened to rap music.
Yeah, I was like, this does not look like your rotation at all.
Yeah, that's
This is
pretty
college,
strange.
Sam.
Yeah, this is me a good 5 years ago. Anyway. All right, let's do it. Should we start? How do you want to do this? Should we start with
You want to just speed through
week,
last
like,
week? Just
three?
If anything happened, we could be like, oh, like
Talk
DC and
about
Bree
some of
and
the
Boston
hits.
are similar.
Yeah, DC beat Boston by 1 in like a really shitty weather game, 12-11.
Should we like move people around a little bit based on week 3 games so that people will know where they stood at the end of last week and then go through the week 4 games, move them around again?
Sure. We can
Makes
just
sense to
quickly
me.
do it.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Well, does DC Boston do anything for you? Because
No. Maybe
Yeah.
if anything, Boston goes down a little. Actually, no, looking at those teams, or not Boston, sorry, DC, but I don't want to move them actually below Seoul. Okay, I know I wasn't on the pod when Cam was here, but like I cannot believe you guys dropped Empire below Minnesota. Like I heard Cam's rant. Like, no, Empire is still better than Minnesota. We just saw Minnesota freaking lose to the Thunderbirds. Like
Well,
this
we
is
didn't know that.
You're wrong for saying that the rant wasn't proof that they should be dropped all the way there, but you are right that they're better than Minnesota.
okay.
Yeah, I think just Minnesota's too high. I feel like the Empire
everything. Yeah,
are
I
in the
feel like
right
this should
place.
be an anti-Minnesota take, which is
Plus, that didn't
something
even
I
happen
gave.
week 3, so
Yeah,
we
wait,
don't even know
sorry.
about that
We don't
yet.
know that Minnesota's bad yet.
Yeah, so Minnesota stays A tier.
Pretend that didn't happen.
All right, yeah. DC Boston, I think nothing happens. Looks like Nitro continues to be Gorpus. I don't know what the hell that score means.
I think Oakland is just like hit or miss. Like they're either Gorpus or they can. I mean, all they've beaten so far is the Aviators, and like I
Yeah.
think maybe Growlers.
And Seattle.
And
They beat
yeah,
they beat Seattle.
yeah.
Oh, they did,
Yeah,
didn't they?
they lost them by 1 and they beat them by 1.
Yeah, they beat them. this
Unless that,
same week.
yeah,
Okay, that
yeah.
happened this weekend. Got it. Yeah. Okay.
So I don't know, but that's like pretty
So
C like meh team behavior.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
that is fine with
Flyers
me.
are cool with me. Glory, Phoenix. Yeah, Phoenix stay in D after losing by 9
Oh
to the
yeah,
Thunder.
here. Well, no, I guess next week we'll talk about.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. Yeah, but yeah, agreed. Flyers are S, Hustle are A. That makes sense given how that game
Hmm.
went.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
Carolina is like a strong S, but yeah, I don't think anything's changing so far.
Looking at these games, like it's kind of just confirming our tiers. Like
Yeah, nothing much
Radicals
is.
beating the Thunderbirds by 9. Like they're both bad teams, middle of the road. It is what it is.
mhm.
Alley Cats winning by 9 over the Mechanics. Like sure, is what it is. Soul Legion 8-point game again. Toronto Rush Royale close game. But again, that's kind of where we have them both in D right now, which is kind of fine.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
works
I
for
feel
me.
like I remember looking and well, like watching some of these games and looking at the scores last weekend and being like, this was like not an interesting week in
Hmm.
frisbee whatsoever. Like some of the
Mhm.
games were good, but like the actual like who won the games, there weren't really any like upsets, I would say. It
Yeah.
was
Mhm.
pretty much
Gotta
all who I expected to win.
gotta give a huge shout out to Montreal. I think that's their first win in the whole season, so on a whole calendar year. So shout out
Yeah.
Montreal getting done. We all expected them to do it this week, the way they played Boston and New York. So
Yeah,
glad that those games weren't flukes.
big congrats.
Um.
Also, I feel like this just confirms the Radicals aren't ass.
Yeah, they might
This
be.
was a solid win against a
The
D tier
Rascals are
team.
back.
Yeah,
They might be sniffing
Rascals.
around for
They
that
might.
last playoff spot.
I feel like the
Yeah.
Central is wide open again.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like I don't trust any of
Especially
these
with,
teams.
especially with the results from next week that we don't know about yet. Like
Yeah.
I
shit
feel
gets
like
crazy.
I feel like we just shouldn't change the tier list at all for this
Yeah,
week.
I know.
The
Like
one
looking at
thing, yeah, the one thing is his last game. Um, because Seattle lost its first for the first time, I think.
Mhm.
Um, but I don't know, maybe showed that they should be near Oakland because both their games were super close, and then one went each way. Uh, but
Nah, don't move it. That's
I don't know what to. Yeah,
I
I
think
don't
I
know.
think we were perfect the week before,
Yeah.
Okay,
and all these games just like assumed.
sure.
Oh, and then these
One
look
thing
at
I do want to note back in week 3, and I know this is related to Ryan's lines, but I called a push on the DC Glory game, and
Wrong
I got it.
episode.
So just
Oh yeah,
Wrong
saying,
DC by
episode.
one.
yeah, this
just
is not
saying,
Ryan's
I want
lines.
to
This is
shout it
Tier
out
Talk.
in both episodes so everybody knows that I was the first person to call a push correctly on
He,
this
he
podcast.
he called a push with 3 minutes to go in the game. He didn't
That is
say
not true. That is not true. I put it in a YouTube comment before the game started. You can
we'll have
go
to
back and
we'll
read
have
the
to verify
timestamp
that.
Check the
on the
receipts.
YouTube
I've
comment.
seen it. I've
I
seen it.
called it before the
Yeah,
game started.
Joe, you
that's
can confirm you saw the comment?
I saw the comment.
All right.
I didn't time check it, but I trust Kyle, but I saw the comment. I would also like to put out there that I also called a push in a different game, and I want to shout it out now because I won't be able to later because I was wrong and I have to be quiet.
yeah. It is pretty fitting that the first person to get a push finally is not one of us.
Yeah.
Um. Anyway, yeah. So week 3 happened, and our tier list was spot on.
Mhm.
Hell
But
yeah.
then week 4 happened.
Okay.
Where to begin? Should we just do the same thing? Go game by game?
Yeah, let's go game by
Sure.
game.
Yeah, do you want to hear my rundown of this game? Because I was actually
Yeah,
at it.
yeah.
Yes, please.
Kyle
Okay.
was there. Give us the deets.
Yeah, so this is my second glory game. I went to one last year with Ryan. And I think we gave it like an overall unfavorable review, especially compared to Summit games. I gotta say, so I assumed the crowd would be a little bit bigger, but we showed up and we had to like park like 4 parking lots further away from it than we did last year when we went to the Rush game, and there were like crowds of people all moving towards the
Wow.
game. I was like, oh my God, like last time it was like us, the team's families, and like this one middle school frisbee team, and this time it was like the stands were packed, and it was like it was
That's so
way
sick.
different environment. It was
Was
pretty cool.
was the scoreboard working this time?
The scoreboard was working this time. They had both a DJ and a hype meister, not a hype
Wow.
master. It was a hype meister. That's what
Let's
it actually
go.
said on the tickets. And he was good. He was kind of explaining things to the crowd, and he was also like running all the contests. There was like a frisbee golf contest with these like little like plastic frisbees, and like there was like a sing along contest, and there was a performance at halftime by 4 cheerleaders. Um, it was
Sweet.
which they did a great job, but it was just
Wow.
like a little strange that there were only 4 of them. But you know they were talented, and they were like advertising for a local indoor football team. Anyway, there was a lot of stuff. There was a hot dog truck, and it was like good hot dogs. Like they were probably the best hot dog I've had since Dat Dog. And
Ooh.
then they had Night Shift Brewery, which is like a good brewery. Only complaint is they ran out of beer, and there
Oof.
was only seltzers in the
Damning.
second half. So if I had known that, would have stocked up more. But you were allowed to bring the cans in the stands, which was
That's
clutch.
huge. Yeah.
That is
Um,
huge.
yeah, so that was good. It was fun. I got a sign. Let me hold up the sign. It says hallelujah. There were some signs that said
You
It's
got to
said
just
bring
like
it
your
glory.
cat.
closer. Or
Yeah, we
just your
can't see
cat.
that. We see a cat.
Oh,
Oh
nice.
shit. Okay, let me yeah, if I put it in front of my face, can you see it?
No, it's just your
No, we
cat.
can't
Oh
see
my god.
anybody.
Oh my god. Okay, let me change my cat. How
Change
do
it
I
to a
do this?
picture of the sign.
So no background. Okay, now you can see this. Okay. So it says hallelujah. You see
Oh
that?
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then on the back it says Medford School of Rock, because they were
Nice.
the sponsor. So
Wow.
Nice.
um so that was
Oh,
fun. Got
that's
to
back.
like every time they scored, I would hold up the sign um and yell. And it was good. I mean, I think as far as the actual game goes, I think the Glory like started out a little slow. I feel like New York just kind of like scored very quickly on O, and the Glory struggled a little bit more on O to start off with. But then as the game went on, I feel like the Glory started to realize that they like could get D's, and it was like too little, too late. And every time the Glory like did um like turn it over, which I feel like there were like a couple kind of like throwaways or like drop passes. New York pretty much capitalized, and that really was the game. But they had a pretty like they came back within one at the end, and it was very exciting. Like everyone was on their feet and yelling, and just couldn't didn't kind of ran out of time at the end. I feel like the Empire was starting to kind of they were kind of shaken at the end, and I think if there were like a few more minutes, the Glory might have pulled it off, or at least forced overtime. But yeah, there were a couple like drops and like missed throws that I was like, oh, that was probably the difference between winning this game and losing this game for them. So,
Yeah.
but it was fun. It was a very exciting game. Uh, the crowd was into it. The hype meister at one point, one of New York's coaches, I guess, went on the field during the play, and this guy was like, I don't know. Do you think their coach should be allowed on the field during a play? And then everyone was like, no. And he was like, I don't think so. So he was getting us involved, which is nice.
That rocks. I kind of want the
That's
hype
so
meister on the
sick.
pod.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. He was great. I have no idea what his name is or who he is, but next game I go to, I'll talk to him and get him on the pod.
Hell yeah.
All right, tier talk. Kyle, would you move either team? Right now we got them both in B.
Uh, honestly, no. I just because I don't think the Glory did enough to move up, but I also wouldn't put them below any of the teams that they're above right now. Like, um, I feel like
For
the
sure.
Empire still look vulnerable to me. I almost feel like there's still like a bit of an intimidation factor where the Glory like didn't realize how vulnerable they were until the second half, and they
Mhm.
were like, "Oh, we can get D's on this team," like, and they started doing it, and like the Empire started like dropping it and stuff, and I was like, if this had started in the first half, I think they could have won this game, but the Glory weren't quick enough to get their defense going, and they made too many like silly throws on offense. So, um, but yeah, the Empire didn't like blow me away either. They looked good, and like their like stars looked good, but it wasn't like commanding, and they definitely looked shaken in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I definitely think despite going 2-0, I don't think the Empire should move up based on this weekend. Um Also, I was like looking at the numbers of this Boston game specifically, and the Empire did not complete a single huck, which is kind of crazy for
I
that
have
team.
that written down too. 0 for 3. They only attempted 3 is
Yeah,
crazy.
I know. It seems like they might be. I wonder if they're like trying to scramble into a new identity now, like just being like the
So
team that gets it in the red zone and plays insane defense. Because they
yeah,
were perfect in the red zone too, I think.
they were 13 for 13. That was the other thing I wrote down from the two games. They were 13 for 13, but against Montreal, they were 14 of 19 in the red
Mm,
zone. So
okay,
I don't know.
interesting.
They were 6 of 10 for Hucks against Montreal.
Gotcha.
Uh, yeah, no, I think they're missing Oscar.
Mhm.
Only attempting 3 Hucks is kind of crazy. Not completing any of them, very crazy.
Yeah, it could also be like a matchup thing or like a respect to Jeff Babbitt thing that they don't even try to go deep.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right, moving
But yeah,
on.
I guess leave them there. We did touch on the Montreal game. Does that do anything to Montreal for you?
No.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think it bumps them up to the top of D at least.
We're crediting them for a loss again?
They
that's kind of
lost.
what I was
They lost to
thinking.
Boston by 2. They lost to New York by 2. They lost to New York by 2, and now they have a win against Toronto. They're only like 2 ahead of Toronto right now.
Yeah, I think it's fair to put some space between them and Toronto. Like
All right.
definitely not gonna bump them a tier after a loss, but
I just
I
think you
don't
don't
know.
have to win to get moved up if
Yeah,
you
to
look
move
like a
around.
good team. Like you need a win to get from C to B or B to A, but to go from F to D or D to C is just like, oh, you're not a terrible team. You can play close games with good teams.
Mhm.
All right, fine. That's fair.
I agree because like you don't have to show you can win
Yeah.
games to even be in C. You just have to like show you're competent.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and this is just top of
And the
D. So
Growlers suck.
and the Growlers suck, but they did beat Gorpus by 7.
They did. I
At
don't really.
home. So who cares?
Who
Is that what
cares?
we think?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on.
I want to talk about Salt Lake real quick
Oh
because I
yeah,
was also
totally
looking
skip
at
that.
their red zone, I guess completion. I don't know, red zone percentage for this game, and
Conversion.
like, yeah, they were in the red zone 25 times. It's crazy. They
Damn.
went 23 for 25, but it's like, how do you beat a team if they're in the red zone 25 times? Um,
Yeah.
the Hustle also scored 25 points this week, and they were only in the red zone 18 times. And the Breeze got to the end zone or the red zone 25 times also, but they needed multiple overtimes. And the Rascals, they scored 27 this week. They were only in the red zone 22 times.
Hmm.
So I don't know. That's crazy. Like, how do you stop
Salt
that?
Lake is just yeah, clinical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
So
Yeah,
say the Oakland game versus Salt Lake kind of is like what I expected from that game. I think we can
yeah.
talk more about Salt Lake when we get to the Summit game.
Yeah, fair point. Um, okay, Hustle Cats. similar to last year, the Hustle just kind of took it.
Yeah.
What does
It
this
was
do for
anything-
you?
It was
If
close in the
anything,
start, and then Hustle just like was like, oh, like we can huck it here, we can, and they started getting like a bunch of D's, and it just kind of like fell apart. But
yeah,
Uh,
for me, if anything, it drops the Cats maybe to the top of C. I just don't know. Like you lose by 7 to a A-tier team. Like maybe you're not a tier above the Union. Like
Yeah,
because I don't think the Cats and Union have played yet. That's the only thing I'm thinking.
yeah, because Cats have only played Detroit, so like yeah, if Union played Hustle, if any of these C teams played Hustle, I would expect a similar result, I think. So I think I agree with you that it could be dropped,
Yeah.
and at least until further notice. Like again, we haven't seen them win a good game yet.
Yeah, for me, it's just like a 7-point game. Like we're talking about Montreal and Empire keeping it within 2. Like, okay, so Montreal is like a good team. They're the top of D. And then the Alley Cats, they can't even keep it within 7 or 6 points to the Hustle. So that's,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's
Yeah.
talk about the flaming bird in the room.
Yeah. Can I just say that was the game of the week? Like, holy hell, the final like 3 minutes and then overtime and double overtime. Like, that was so exciting.
Shout out big game James.
Oh
My
my
God,
God.
what a game.
He had
Dude's a
like
menace.
1,000 yards. It was crazy.
Yeah, I
And he
know.
had 2 clutch skies at buzzer beater, like crazy.
Yeah,
But
he's
what the hell
really
do we
good.
do? Is the question.
Also, shout out Max Striflis, who just like I watched the highlight reel and it seemed like he came down with every big block or score or whatever when they like really needed him to. So yeah, Phoenix coming up huge, but just not finishing the game. So
Okay, this begs the question: are we bringing back Hotbird Coldbirds? Because this is not the same team that lost to Boston by like 9 or whatever, and only scored
yeah,
10 points.
Or to DC
I
also.
think
Yeah,
Hotbird's like right behind the Glory because Glory also lost to DC by 1, and then Coldbird is down in like Corpus.
Yeah, I think Gorpus.
yeah. It's so ridiculous how it's been like years of this where they're just
Mhm.
wildly inconsistent. It's crazy.
Okay, if we do this, can we put the Hotbirds like top of C? Because like haven't really won a game. Have they won a game yet?
No,
No,
So they
No,
no,
haven't won
they
a game
just
yet. So I don't
they
think
just
putting a winless team in B, even though we're having 2 of them, like that's my only
yeah,
thing.
but the only game that we can judge them on is a double OT loss to the Breeze.
yeah, that was the only time the Hotbirds played.
Yeah,
That's fair.
the other
That
two
is fair.
games were the Cold Birds.
You're
About
not you're
that.
not wrong. You're not wrong. And I see the appeal there. I just don't want Philly fans to look at our tier list, see their logo, and be like, oh, these guys think we're good.
Yeah.
well
Yeah.
To
they
be clear, we don't. We
Yes.
don't.
Yes, but they're not gonna watch the 40 minutes into our podcast.
We can just
on
make
Uh,
average.
a little
can
clip of
you?
like we don't think the Phoenix are good.
They're
Yes, clip
bad.
that
They're
5
bad.
seconds.
Okay.
Can you put the Cold Birds at the end just so it's like, they're both at the end, a little easier to see compared to each
Yeah.
other?
Yes. Yeah, there you go, Joe. I love it. Love it.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm
God.
happy with that.
Yeah, I am too.
All right. All
That
right.
evens them out to like bottom
Yeah.
C, which makes sense. I think if they
Rascals
were
putting
1.
up 27 on Detroit. Like,
That's
I
a
mean,
solid game.
that's a great. The Rascals are real, and also Detroit is just still bad. God, they got worse this year, and it's really tough.
I
Can
feel
you
like
refresh? Go ahead.
I was just gonna suggest a radical, no pun intended, actually, but that's hilarious. A radical change to the tier list where we put every team in the Central in C except for Detroit.
I like that idea.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, let's do that. C for Central.
I don't even know what order to put them in.
Okay, C for Central, and then do we move out the Oakland and Aviators? to like just bottom of B or something or top of D.
I don't think they deserve
I know.
either spot of those.
All right, they're
Yeah.
they're just a central team in the West. I
You
love
can just
it.
make
Yeah.
2 C tiers, and one of them stands
Yeah,
for Central.
Well, shoot,
do a second one.
love it. Is it
All right.
below or above? Below.
I
I
think
think
it's
below.
below.
Yeah.
And we get the same color.
Actually, what if you did another C tier above and put the spiders above and the
Ah,
aviators below and just have 3 C tiers?
This is a great.
oh God, what did I do? This is revolutionary.
Radical.
And then we should call the central tier central tier.
Agreed.
Can you just remind me of the Radicals' record so far? Like, who have they beat besides the Mechanics, if
They're
anyone?
2-0. They beat Pittsburgh. They beat Detroit.
Oh my
Okay,
God, they're undefeated.
okay. I think
Yeah.
you should put them above. Yeah, probably above Pittsburgh,
Above
right? If they beat
Pittsburgh.
them head to
This
head.
is tough.
Do we
Yeah, but
put
Pittsburgh beat
Minnesota?
Minnesota.
And then, yeah, so put Minnesota behind them. And then who did Minnesota beat?
They beat Chicago.
Yeah,
put
they beat
Chicago
Chicago,
behind
and
them.
they also beat Pittsburgh by 8.
Shit,
Yeah.
like that.
But
But they
no,
have to be next
Pittsburgh.
to each other,
Yeah.
like that.
Wait, so Minnesota's played Pittsburgh
Wait,
twice?
no.
Okay, so
Did the-
Pittsburgh's either at the top or the bottom.
Why are the Union last? And why
I don't
are the
know.
Alley Cats first?
Yeah,
I don't
wait.
know.
The Alley
Honestly,
Cats have
no
only won a
reason.
game against Detroit. Maybe the Alley Cats are last.
Who did Chicago beat? I don't even remember.
I
Detroit.
don't remember.
Okay.
Just Detroit.
Okay,
Okay.
so Alley
Union are last
Cats.
because they haven't won a real game. Alley Cats also haven't won a real game.
Yeah. So Rascals are first.
Yeah,
Yeah, maybe.
because
Love
they
it.
beat Pittsburgh
They're 2-0, right?
and they're
So,
2-0.
Yeah.
They are first in the standings.
Yeah, and
I
if we're
love it.
saying Pittsburgh is better than the Union, then their win against Pittsburgh is better than
Mhm.
Minnesota's win against the Union.
Love it.
Yeah.
E-
All right.
Even though they beat Pittsburgh by 8 also.
They also lost to them,
But
which
they
I
also
think
lost.
means
Yeah.
that's worse.
That is definitely worse. All right, I'm fine with that.
All right. Let's get out of here before we think too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Houston a D tier team or is Legion? Because
No.
there's a separation between the teams now. The fact that Dallas is 0-3.
But I think 1 point game means like
Fine. Yeah. That's
could
fair.
have gone either way. They're still within like.
All right. Let's get out of this game. These teams don't matter.
And real quick, let's just hop over to Aviators Portland. Just get that out of the way. That doesn't matter, right?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Corpus.
Yeah.
So yeah, Corpus. Let's talk Colorado Shred, and then we'll wrap it up. Ryan, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, going into this game, Colorado was without Nethercutt and Quinn Finer. I would argue they're two most valuable players in their O-line. With that being said, I think having both those players, Salt Lake still wins by 2 or maybe 3. This whole game, Salt Lake was just very dominant on offense. You watch the highlights of this game, Salt Lake has figured out the UFA play style. It just seems like every reset is easy, it's free. It seems like they can just work it down the field. I mean, their hold percentage 75%. They play so cleanly. I feel like all the D's that Colorado got were just like crazy athletic, like layouts or whatever. And Colorado had a couple like buzzer beater goals, like that No Coolman goal. So yeah, clearly Salt
Also,
Lake.
wait, real quick, while you brought that up, if someone did that in a like club game, people would get so mad at them. He like dove into like 3 people to catch that. That was insane. But also,
Yeah.
I personally have no problem with it. I was like a little jarred at like the stark difference between that's like come about between like how UFA players play and how club players play.
Yeah. Yeah, that play you could argue if that was a really bad foul or not, but it looked cool
It was
and
sick.
it was sick. So play on. But yeah, with that being said, Salt Lake, I think they're just clearly the best team in the league right now. They don't play club like all like out in Salt Lake City, like nobody besides like Jordan Kerr who's on machine like plays club. So like they just practice year round with the same group of people, like mastering this style of play, and I think they've kind of got it down. They're currently my pick to win the whole thing. I don't think that's a hot take. And Colorado, I think they're still like they have top tier talent, and they can. I wouldn't be surprised if they win one game against Salt Lake later in the year, but I think where they're at, middle of B, like, I can see them contending with all those teams, but they kind of got to show it. They got to have all their players show up,
Mhm.
and yeah. Chance Cochran, his debut game, killed it.
Dude, he
Unstoppable in
led
the
the
red
team.
zone.
Yes.
Led the team
Yes.
in plus minus.
He was unstoppable in the red zone. There was one point, so I was in the beer garden the whole game. There's one point where I'm
Nice.
just screaming ISO chance, ISO chance, and then they ISO chance for a score. So that was like all me. Um,
Dude, you should
yeah,
coach.
yeah, it was great. Great to watch a fellow Tulane alum play, and excited for at the end of the year when he matches up against Everest Shapiro. I was told personally that he is guarding Everest when they play.
Oh,
Love
Um,
that.
I
Fellow
forgot who told me. I think it was myself, but I was
yeah.
told.
Fellow Tulane Callahan nominee, no less.
Exactly. Yeah, we've
There
got
you
that
go.
bond.
Um, yeah,
A
all that
lot of
said,
Callahan nominees on this podcast.
totally.
Ryan, Sam.
Sam wasn't a Callahan
No, not
nominee.
me.
Just
Ryan
No,
and
Sam
Everest.
just made the videos. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, no, it was me, Carp, and Chance hanging out after the game, and it was just like a bunch of Callahan nominees hanging out.
Yeah.
I made all your videos except I made Chance's Little Light video, which
Yeah,
was pretty
it's a great
awesome.
one.
But anyway, all that aside, I feel like nothing happened with the tiers, right?
We're just
I
so
mean,
smart. Like,
the C tier multiplied, but other than that,
No. I mean, I mean in terms of this game
oh,
specifically,
yeah.
no changes. In terms of our
No,
actual tier list, it's a mess.
I like the S tier. I think those are two early finals favorites.
Totally.
I think Carolina needs to play some other teams, but I mean, I don't know who's going to test them other than like the Soul, I guess.
Yeah. Do they have a DC game again or no? Can't remember.
yeah, they do.
They do.
Hmm.
That'll be a good one.
Yeah, they got the DC Pittsburgh doubleheader weekend, I believe.
Oh, brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, 628. All right. Well, that's a tier list.
that's tier list.
That's a tier list.
I'm open.
I'm
I'm
open.
open.